Welcome to Dr. A's weekly Healthy Bastards Health Tip. Hey, g'day folks. Now this week's health tip is on what brainy bastards call osteoporosis, or it's early thinning and weakening of your bones. The problem with that is that the bones then break easily, especially if it's the hip or your back, and that can really get you into trouble. So let's talk about osteoporosis. Well, who gets osteoporosis or early bone thinning? Well, anyone can, but there are risk factors. The first risk factor group really are the ones that you can't change in your life. Like as you get older, your bones get thinner. You can't change that, can you? Women whose periods stop, usually about 50 to 55. Once those periods stop, their bone thinning starts to happen a lot quicker. Women can't change that, can they? And also, bone thinning or osteoporosis can run in the family. However, there are some risk factors that you can change. People are at a much higher risk of bone thinning if they smoke, they don't exercise, they don't get much sunlight, or they have a poor diet, particularly if there's low vitamin D, which is a bone protector. One thing which is a huge relief to me is that coffee drinking is not a risk factor for osteoporosis. Hooray! Okay, so how do you know you've got osteoporosis? Because in the early years, before a fracture happens, there's no pain. Your bones just thin away and you don't know about it. So really, most people find they've got thin bones. They might go to the doctor and get an x-ray and the doctor says, gee, the bones are thin. Or you have a fracture and they check you out and see you've got really thin bones. So really, what you want to do, if you think you might be in one of the risk factor groups, you're getting on a bit and you may be a bit skinny, you're not getting much sunlight, or there's a family history of osteoporosis, what you want to do is go and see your doc and they'll advise you. They'll maybe do a few blood tests to check there's nothing that predisposes you to osteoporosis, and they may then organise for you a bone density scan. Now, these bone density scans don't cost a lot of money, but they're really good at showing the quantity of calcium in your bones. If it's below a certain level, you're at a much greater risk, and you can do something about it before a fracture happens. So say you're smart enough to have gone to the doctor, and the GP says, based on your scan, you have got thin bones. Is there anything you can do about it? Well, there's heaps. Lifestyle changes, plenty of sunlight, good nutrition, exercise, and on top of that is stop the risk factors like smoking and drinking too much booze. If still you're at risk for bone thinning, there's some very, very good medications that can make a difference to strengthen your bones. So that's this week's health tip, fellas. It's on bone thinning. I must rush. I'm off on the raw this week, so we'll see you next week and I'll get back to